So we can talk about the second time, the activity learning.
Yes, sure. Before I start explaining about the other one, you can ask me about the second one.
Okay, I
You have
have a question.
Yeah.
I can make as I read, I understood that I can make a presentation in Prezi. I can use different tools
Yeah.
to present my management's strategies.
Yeah.
Yes.
You have to record yourself explaining that.
Uh-huh. I can record my voice and I can explain with for example, with a presentation one activity.
Yeah. So I send you guys a link about a website that is called Screenomatic, and
Mm,
it allows you to record yourself explaining the Prezi or the PowerPoint or whatever,
uh-huh.
and you can appear like little like in a small part like I do on the tutorials. You appear very small, and you can record yourself explaining that, but it's going to be very small, like you're not going to be like in the big screen or stuff like that.
Okay. And I can do just the recording for me because I don't have to present my students.
No, it's just for you and for us. Yes.
Okay.
If you want, you can just give us examples as if you were with your students, but there's no need like to make the to apply the strategies directly to the student. There's no need for
Yes.
that. And we also have a like a protection policy that doesn't allow us to show students in a video, for example.
Yes, no, because in today, tomorrow, we had remember that there is a stop from teachers tomorrow and on Thursday.
Yeah.
So we are not going to have students neither Friday because we have a meeting. So I am going to prepare my tasks alone.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, you
Okay.
don't need to apply it. You just need to create your presentation, your Prezi, your PowerPoint, or whatever tool you're using, and then explain it to us, like in like saying, "This is what I would do." That it's not
Mhm.
like exactly apply it, but this is what I would do according to the situation. That's it.
Okay. Okay. Good.
Okay. Hello, Francisco. How are you? I'm going to silence your microphones for a bit of time while I explain the feedback for the activity one.
Okay.
So I don't know if you already checked your feedback because I already posted or answered everybody's papers right now, but I'm going to do like general comments that maybe I couldn't do inside the specific ones that I gave you. Yes, because
Okay.
there are a lot of papers. Yes, so I what I did was to take out exactly like the recurrent problems so you can analyze them. Okay, so I'm going to
Okay.
silence a little bit the microphone. I'm going to share my screen.
Mm-hmm.
So right now you're seeing my screen. I prepared this presentation about the feedback. Yes. Um, the general comments had to do basically with task-based learning, which is the methodology that we use normally during during the activities. Yes. So basically, the first problem that I saw was that the task was not very clear in the beginning. So we're going to, for example, here explain what generally what task-based learning is. So it allows the teacher to use authentic material, irrelevant to the student's need, and encourages the development of skills necessary for completion of the task. Yes. Sometimes in the task we forget to make the knowledge meaningful to our students. So we say, for example, learn present simple. Yes, but what is that for? Yes, or what are they going to use it for in the future? So what we want to do with task-based learning is implement those things that are not grammatically, but for example, to express my routine to my partners. That is one aspect that is not like use simple present, because sometimes we talk too grammatically, and because we know we learn like that maybe, but our students have a different set of mind, especially when they are young. Yes. So we cannot all the time talk to them in grammar topics. Yes. Here, for example, uh, um, I explain here the task. Yes. So the task is an activity where the target knowledge is used by the learner for a goal in order to achieve an outcome. Yes. So it is the how do you use these topics in a specific context in your students. Yes. Here is where you explain the task. So what I'm going to do right now is to let you, yes, write in the chat, yes, the let you write in the chat your task, the one that you took from your lesson plan. Yes, so you can take your lesson plan and please write it in the chat so we can analyze those tasks and see what is the problem with the task. Yes, or what are we can correct from each other. So please take the tasks that you use in your lesson plan and write it in the chat, please. And we're going to analyze them in a sec. So I'm going to give you 5 minutes and I'm going to come back, okay? Okay, guys. So are you listening to me right now? Hi. So can you please write your tasks in here in the chat? So you can write, for example, your name and then the task that you use in your lesson plans. Okay, so the task, the one in here, yes, remember that there are 2 times in which we use the task. In the first one, it says like the name of the task. The name of the task can be something like, I am part of a group. It's nice to be different, like the one that Nancy says, how different are we? Yes, this is the title of the task. So here, let me share my screen. Here, for example, in the example that I sent, you have as a task, soy parte de un grupo, for example. Yes, but here in the explanation of the task, you have exactly what are you going to do with that. Yes, so this is a very important part inside the lesson plan, the introduction of the task. Yes, this is to, for example, in this one is presentar la tarea, realizar encuesta, dar a conocer modelos de encuesta, etc., etc. So in this part, you have to say, what are you going to do with that language? Yes, so if I'm, for example, talking about a simple present, I have to say, what are you going to do with that? Yes, for example, represent anything. Yes, so here is very important, for example, making questions to say exactly what is the language function of that topic. Yes, and sometimes in the lesson plans, that was the main problem. Yes, the main problem is that the task wasn't that clear. Yes, so sometimes you put, for example, a grammatical topic there, and it was not clear what are they going to do with the topic that you choose. Yes, so as you can see, for example, in there, there is no like something that says grammatical topic somewhere. Yes, it's just what are you going to do with that? Yes, what is the function? And that's very meaningful for students. So in the lesson plans, this part is very important. I'm going to here continue with the task. Then you have another very important part of the lesson plan, yes, which was this one, yes, práctica, tarea pedagógica, instrucción, explanación en reporte. This part, yes, the one that is here, is the same part that we have in every task-based learning environment, yes? So remember that in task learning environment, we have different stages, yes? Here, for example, the introduction of the task, and this is also very important, is what are they going to do with it? Here you don't have to plan, for example, any activity so far, yes? So in this area, oh, this keeps moving. Stop moving there. In this area, oh my God. Stop, there you go. No, it doesn't stop. So let's do it manually. In this area, the one where it says introduction of the task, there we go. Here, we don't have to do any activity, yes? It's just to present the students what are they going to do, yes? That's it. So here, students, you're going to do this, nothing else. Yes, here you don't have to do activities, it's just present the task, yes? What is that they're going to do with the language, yes? Either if it's present something or just talk about something, express an idea, etc., etc. Yes, so in here you don't have to explain activities. Yes, in here is not the space. Then we have, normally in task-based learning, you have different parts: pre-task, task preparation, report, etc., etc. The pre-task is something that a lot of students in the lesson plans were missing, because sometimes you start with the instructions saying, for example, the students will create sentences about their routine. But me, myself, I wonder when I read those lesson plans, where are they going to get their vocabulary from? Yes. So if you get to a class and say, write sentences about, I don't know, yourself. Yes. They're going to be like, yeah, where do I get this information from? Yes. So before you introduce any activity, you need to provide the tools. Yes. And that was like the main comment I did during my feedback. It's like, you need to provide vocabulary, then you need to provide the grammar. Yes. And then you ask them to do sentences, because otherwise it doesn't work. okay? Because you will have to go back, yes, and saying, for example, in the middle of the task, you do sentences, you're going to have an avalanche of questions. Teacher, how do you say this? How do you say that? I don't know how to do this, I don't know how to do that, etc., etc., yes? So you're going to have like an avalanche of questions. And if you like avoid that from the beginning, yes, giving them all the tools, you're not going to have that problem later on, yes. So for example, here in pre-task is what you do, yes. You choose the materials that you're going to use to give them a set of vocabulary. Sometimes you can control the vocabulary specific for the task. Sometimes it's very wide, so you just find the most important ones. Sometimes it depends on the student, the vocabulary, for example, the routine. Everybody's routine is different, but you can give them a set of verbs, for example, routine verbs in general. And once that they're going to say, for example, teacher, how do you say lavar la losa, or whatever, and then you can add some vocabulary to that, yes. But you need to provide that. And in some of the lesson plans that was missing, yes, either the vocabulary or the grammar. I have some questions here. Who I am, yes. Yes, exactly. Yes. So as Nancy has here, you have some vocabulary. Some of you specified the vocabulary, some of you didn't. Yes. That basically depends. In this exercise, for example, I didn't ask you to be that specific, but in any lesson plan, it is very important to be specific. Yes, because every time I do a lesson plan, I pretend I'm not going to the one who is going to present the class. I pretend that somebody else is going to do it. Yes, so if I am clear in the instructions, if I have the vocabulary and the grammar, yes, if something happens to me all of a sudden, I can just give that class to somebody else and that person is able to do it. Yes, even if it doesn't happen in real life. Yes, you need to, every time you do a lesson plan, you need to think that somebody else is going to read it, because sometimes when we do a lesson plan, we say, do this, do that, yes, because I know, but what if somebody else sees that plan? Yes, what if they want to do it? Do they have all the information? Do they have all the instructions clear? That is something that is very important when you lesson plan. Yes, to place yourself outside your own class. Okay. Here you have pre-task. As I told you, task preparation is the instructions in the one that we have in our format. These red lines is because somebody is going to is trying to use the board, but we're not using that right now. Teachers introduce the topic in task preparations or in instructions. And that's what happens in instructions. Yes, you need to first do a warm-up and then say, okay, this is what we're going to do. Yes, but as I told you, you need to provide beforehand all the tools that you need to do that. Let me silence there. Then you have, again, we continue with the part of instructions. You have a student planning, the report. Yes, it's very important, the report. Yes, the report is in our format, the one that we use. The report is right here. The report is how the students present their task. Yes, it's exactly what, or the form, yes, in which they present the class. It can be like a speaking exercise, it can be a dialogue. Some people did dialogues, some people did interviews, yes. So it's or some people did posters, for example. It's how they're going to present that information, yes. So that is the report, and it's also very important because it's how do you know how you're going to evaluate your students, yes, or what is the product, basically the product of your class, yes, that's the report. In planeación, yes, basically is what is your role inside the class, yes, inside this promote the space, monitor your students, yes. Here you can use different strategies depending of your set. Some people like to monitor class group by group, some people like to walk around the classroom, yes, that depends. But here in planeación is basically what is your role inside the class. Yes, and this is very important because sometimes we kind of lose our role. Yes, so we leave them free, yes, to do their stuff. But basically, our role here has to be very active. So especially when we talk about task-based learning, it has to be very active. Okay. And then you have materials, etc., which everybody fill out pretty good. You were really good filling out indicadores de desempeño. I think you have like plenty of experience there because everybody was really good at this. So basically, I think it's because of our background. I think you have filled out that like 10,000 times already. So that was really quick for everybody. And I'm glad because everybody was really good at that. So you used the correct verbs and the objectives were perfect. Yes. So that was good. That was really good. So I only had comments inside this area from the tags on. As I told you, some people were very specific. Some people were not that specific. And also timing is very important. Some people, when they did their lesson plan, they did like 2 activities, and then I look at the time and it says 2 hours. So when you do a lesson plan, you need to, it's better that you have like extra activities that, so all of a sudden you, I don't know if it has happened to you that you, on the middle of the class, you run out of activities and you're like, oh my God, yes, what am I going to do? So that is very, very, very difficult because you have to improvise like on spot. Yes, I know some of you or some of us, yes, I included, we're so good at improvising, but it's not the idea. The idea is to have like a lot of activities, yes, and if you run out of time, you can always have like a second class, yes, where you can fill out the information. So it's better to have more activities prepared than not to have like in the middle of the class you don't know what to do, yes. So that was very important, the timing, yes, because sometimes you put 2 hours, but really the lesson plan was for 1 hour, yes. So that is also something that I need to emphasize, and is to be careful with timing. Of course, we cannot control timing altogether because, well, it's not something that we control. But you can more or less calculate according to your students how much time do they spend in X or Y activity. I think that's, let me see if I have all the presentation. Here there is in report inside the one that we have. We only have like the way they presented, but also you have an additional part in task-based, which is your reflection on the class. Yes, you can include that in the lesson plan, and it's very important because after a class you can just say, okay, this worked, this didn't work, because we don't know that, and maybe correct it for next class. Here I emphasize, oh my God, these things move. There you go. Here I emphasize some tips in order to like to give like a conclusion of this feedback. Place yourself in your student's role, and with your lesson plan and the materials provided, are they able to do the task? So sometimes we need to change roles and pretend we're students, and you are the ones who know them better. Yes. So you say, okay, with this that I did, can they do what? So you come back to the class and say, with all the things that I provided, can I do the class? Can they do the task? Yes or no? If the answer is yes, then your lesson plan is perfect. If the answer is no, then you need to come back and say, okay, what am I missing? Yes, am I missing a grammar explanation, some vocabulary? What am I missing here for them to do the task? Remember that here in task-based learning, the most important thing at the end of your class is that they actually do the task, yes, at the end. There you go. Then you have the second one, which is to analyze the pace of the class. Do you really start with the easier parts to build up knowledge so they can do the task, or you're asking for a structure that you haven't explained? Yes, sometimes in some lesson plans, you were starting with a very difficult thing, yes? For example, create a paragraph. And I was saying, okay, maybe, yes, maybe you already have some process about it, yes, which I don't know. But it's important to ask yourself, are they able to do it, yes, so far, or you're asking for too much at the beginning, yes? That maybe you can save that for the end. Uh, there is a noise. Let me check that out. There you go. The next one is to take into account that the time of the class is always better. I already said that. If you don't have enough time, then you might end up improvising. I already said that. And very important in our context is to take into account the resources we have available. Yes, sometimes we don't have all the resources available. Yes, sometimes you plan something, yes, that you need a video beam and you need a TV and you need a lot of stuff, but then you are not provided. Yes, so before you do the class, you need to make sure that you have the resources. So it's not a frustrating thing, yes, that you prepare something like really cool, yes, with videos and stuff, and you cannot make it. Yes, that's frustrating. And if you enter the class in that attitude, everybody will see it. So make sure you know your context, you know what you have, and then work with what you have. Yes, this is our reality. Yes, it's not like ideal. Sometimes I know it's frustrating, but we all have to deal with it. So sometimes we don't have all the resources that we need. Yes, like videos and stuff. So we need to work with what we have. So in that case, prepare the materials beforehand so you know what you're going to deal with. And you can also use your students. For example, I saw one specific lesson plan that used some flashcards. So how about if, for example, the class before, you work with your students making those flashcards, yes? So you say, for example, this is what we're going to draw, and it can be a fun activity for them, and it will save you, for example, to do the flashcards yourself, yes? So they can do them, it's a fun activity, and the next class, they already know the vocabulary for that class. So you don't need to go over the flashcards because they did the flashcards, so they know what is going to be there. So that can be a very fun thing to do with your students, especially if you work, for example, with teenagers or even little kids. They, like, everybody enjoys an activity that requires handling, yes, like coloring and stuff. Everybody enjoys like a break from like studying all the time. So I think that could be fun. And that's about it. I think those are all the tips that I have. So can you please let me know if you have like a specific comment on your lesson plan, or if you have any question about what I just said. You can do it in the chat, or you can ask me in the chat that you want to speak, and I'm going to remove the blocking on your microphone so you can speak to me directly. Jacqueline, yes. No problem. Jacqueline, do you want to speak? I don't know where you are. Let me find you. Oh, Jacqueline, right here. There you go. You have your audio working.
Okay. Teacher.
Yes.
For example, in my case, in my school, we work with many, I don't know how do you say, special students, autistic students, or many different syndromes. I don't know, autismo, niños con, with many syndromes, many special students. And sometimes you need to prepare not only one lesson plan, maybe 2 or 3. In our cases, in my school, it's so difficult.
Yes, I know planning can be very challenging. Yes. And it's very time consuming also, because sometimes to plan a class from 1 hour, you take like 3. Yes. And sometimes we don't have all that time in our hands.
Yes.
So my suggestion all the time is to try to do the plan, yes, complete. But if you don't have the time, at least prepare an outline beforehand. Yes, that, for example, we talk in task-based learning, task, pre-task, warm-up. Yes, it's just to organize it. It doesn't have to be normally in the formats unless you're asked to. Like by your administrator or by the secretaria or whatever, but it's very important to plan. Yes, it doesn't have to be in the specific format, but it's important to plan. Yes. And especially if you have special students, yes, that require extra help, different material. Yes, they don't work with the same material as everybody else. So especially that it would be
Exactly.
fantastic. Yes, to plan. It doesn't matter. It doesn't need to be specific. All the lesson plan that I gave you as a template, but just to outline your class. It would be with that. It would make a huge difference.
Okay, teacher, thank you.
Okay. Does anybody else want to speak or just say something? Okay, do you have any more questions? If you need to speak, please open your microphone and speak, or let me know so I can give you like the word.
Okay, I have a question.
Yep.
In the feedback you told me or you wrote that you know, I don't know if you remember what my class was about, but I would like to say, for example, that I usually don't write the vocabulary, the specific vocabulary. For example, in that case, I was going to talk about daily routine. I don't remember. So I don't specify wake up, get up. I don't specify the words because maybe I have them in the book. And some of the things you gave me in the feedback was that I must say or specify something like that. I usually don't do that. So do you think it's important? Because I think
I'm sorry. So my normally I don't ask them to specify the vocabulary, but to present it, yes, to the students beforehand. It's not like to say in the lesson plan, I'm going to talk about routine, so I'm going to use this verse, yes, but to present it to the students in some sort of game, flashcard, PowerPoint, images, yes, to present it beforehand. That's my observation. Not that you have to write it in the lesson plan, but in any way you need to present it before you start the class or the task, basically.
okay, I got the idea. Maybe I wrote it like I didn't write like present the vocabulary, but I think it was with the flashcards. It was immersed. I don't know. It was.
Okay, yeah, my comment was about that, is that you don't have to specify it in the lesson plan, but to your students there is some sort of session in which you have to present it, so they use it during the whole class and they go around using the same vocabulary.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Julian. Marita, do you want to say something? Marita? Hi. Who has an open microphone? No, nobody else has an open. Marita, do you want to say something right now? Does anybody else want to speak or say something? All right. Nope. Okay, guys. So basically, that was like the session. It's just to provide feedback. Also, I want to like introduce the second one, the second activity. I already did the whole explanation, but make sure you check that out. Jesus, it would be very nice for you. Yes, he says that to plan each activity, it would be very nice for you because that's how you keep track of your time. Yes, so it would be very good information, more that for anybody, for you, because that's how you know if the class is going to run short or not, if you calculate each activity. So that's the only way you can do it. Yes, to say for warm up I take 15 minutes, then you calculate. But it's an information that works better for you than for anybody else. Maritza, what is your question? Yes, don't worry. I'm recording everything and I'm going to upload it maybe tomorrow or later on. Don't worry about that. I will record it so you can check it later. It doesn't matter. Does anybody else have any other question about the video? The video that we're going to do for activity 2, remember that you have to do a video explaining some strategies. So all the explanation and all the resources are in Edmodo. So check please the video and make sure you know the time, yes, so you don't run short of time, yes, because we're already entering the 2 final weeks, so it's going to be a little hectic from now on. So please pay attention and be careful. I'm going to be available in messages. I'm going to be available in my inside Edmodo and also in my emails if you have any question about the specific activity 2. With this session, we close activity 1. So I hope you had a good time doing that. And I hope you continue in the process. So thank you very much all for you for making it, even at the end, but making it. So, because at the beginning it was only Nancy and me, and I thought we're going to run out alone the whole night. Yes. So I'm going. So Nancy was the first one, but then we have a lot of people. So thank you everybody for chipping in and coming in. So
No question.
yes.
It's about the activity number 2. I'm just checking my cell phone and I can see it's, we have to deliver it on May the 13th.
Yes.
Means Sunday.
Yes.
Mother's Day.
Yes. Oh my God, yes.
Actually, I have a suggestion, something we are on straight tomorrow and the day after tomorrow. It means we have only Friday to record the activity. It has to be on school. I haven't checked the activity at all. I don't know what we're going to do. But can it be, I mean, a longer deadline, maybe on Tuesday, Monday?
The problem is that if you check the calendar, Tuesday, I have to introduce the other activity. So it will be like a whole mess. So that activity can be done by yourself. Yes, it doesn't need, you don't need your students. You only need yourself and your computer. So you can do that on Friday, like during like 4 hours or 3 hours, and you can do it. It doesn't. It's not going to take you a long time. It's one video, but you don't need your students.
Okay.
So we're good. We're good. And you can upload it later on, but there is like a 0.5 penalty, but I think you can afford that. So just check your times, and if you handed it on Monday, for example, there is only a 0.5 penalty, so we can work with that. So it doesn't matter if you handed it, for example, on Monday, I still receive it, but there is a small penalty. So you can afford a 0.5 penalty. I think you're going to have very good videos. So we're good. Okay, if you upload it on Monday, we're good. But try to upload it on Sunday. But if you can, then Monday is fine for me. Okay?
Lorena,
Yes.
I have a question.
Yep.
Do we have to appear in the video? Because I saw some like similar videos in Facebook, and it was just pictures and the messages and the top 5, but the teacher didn't appear in the video. So it's up to us, or it doesn't matter?
In this case, you need to explain your strategies. Yes. So I don't ask you like to be the actor of your video, but you need to explain. So as I was telling Nancy before everybody arrived, you can use a Screen-O-Matic. So a Screen-O-Matic allows you to be very small inside your video, and the big screen shows the PowerPoint or the poster or whatever you work on to explain the strategies, and you can be very small in a corner explaining the strategies. So you don't need to be the actor of your video. So just you can use that tool. It's a Screen-O-Matic, and I posted on Edmodo. Yes, so you can go and check that website, and you're going to appear really small. Yes, but you're going to appear. But like in the tutorials I recorded, I'm very small on the corner, so it's not like you're going to be in the center of everything for the video. Yes, you can use that. All right, Jacqueline?
Teacher,
Yes.
Yes, about the future land, the activities in the week number 4 we're only for week for
Yes.
activities.
Yes.
Yes, only for week.
Yes.
Okay, teacher.
There's only 4 weeks on Future Learn.
Future Learn. Thank you,
Yes.
teacher.
Okay. Any other question? Are we good? Okay, guys. The length of the video, no, it is not. I'm not going to put any like deadlines for. So as long as you explain your strategies, yes, and you resolve the problems, I'm not going to place a length. Yes, that depends of how long do you take to explain them. Yes, so I'm not going to like put a minimum or a maximum. We're gonna be free on that. So just explain them, and as long as you take. Okay. All right, guys. Any more questions before we part? What do I suggest about referring the time? I don't know. I mean, in my case, I would take like, I don't know, like 2 or 3 minutes per suggestion. Yes, that depends. If my suggestion has a lot of things, but it only depends on you. Yes, for example, if my strategy has a lot of steps, then I'm going to take longer. If my other strategy is just to do this specific, it's going to take is it just to explain? Is to explain the 5 solutions for the problems. Yes, so you explain the solutions for the problem. Solution 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's it. Okay, so it's not going to take that long. I mean, I'm not expecting very long videos from this. It's just 5 management strategies, so I don't think you're going to take that long. Okay, right? All right, guys. So as I told you, I hope you start working on the videos, and I'm going to be attentive for any comments that you have. I'm recording this, thank God. So I hope you have a great time. Happy Mother's Day for the mothers here. Yes. And have a great time, and see you next session. All right. So bye, guys. Yay. Good night, guys. For at least, Juliet, for the next time, you know what it is. Yes, so we're good there. All right, bye, guys. See you. Bye. Guys.
Sí.